Penguins and the Maple Leafs. Overtime hockey. Wow. How did the Penguins manage overtime hockey against Toronto? Leafs, Penguins. Overtime hockey, anyone? In the Berg? It starts right now on Penguins postgame. Let's get started. You're locked in to Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Hey, Showcase scores! The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins postgame. PPG for PGH. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Penguins and the Maple Leafs. We got ourselves a good one between the Maple Leafs and the Penguins. 6-5 the final for Craig Berube's Toronto Maple Leafs and for Mike Sullivan's Pittsburgh Penguins. Those are the head coaches. We jump into that a little bit early on in our show. Welcome in, Penguins fans. Welcome in, Maple Leaf fans. We're actually going to do a rerouted version of Boston versus Pittsburgh. That was a 3-2 final in favor of the Boston Bruins, who are currently playing today as of recording of the show. They are currently going head-to-head with the one and only Minnesota Wild. The Penguins will face that team, I should say, in the Minnesota Wild. They will face the Wild on Sunday, next Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. We got a game to get to. So over the course of the opening of our program, we start off with our head coaches, which are Craig Berube and Mike Sullivan. Now let's go ahead and share the screen and get you set up with who is in goal. It's time to find out which goaltenders Craig Berube and Mike Sullivan went with. Alex Nedeljkovic, given he was not going to start in this one, I kind of called that on the first edition we did of Boston versus Pittsburgh. In our first run, I tried to do earlier today. Of course, I didn't really go through with it, so we'll see how run number 2 goes, but Nedeljkovic got the start against Boston. So leave it off to Joel Blomqvist. Blomqvist gets the start for the Penguins against Joseph Woll. Joseph Woll getting the start for the Toronto Maple Leafs, backed up by Anthony Stolaris. And Alex Nedeljkovic in at backup for the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. Nedeljkovic getting the night off after playing in the afternoon game on Saturday against the Boston Bruins. A look at the final score and all of that coming up a little bit later on our Boston show that, as I mentioned off the top of the show, we're going to be doing a take 2 for, and you will hear that take 2 before you hear this show on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. If you're joining us from Maple Leafs post recap, I will be on that show with Thomas to bring you the action from the Maple Leafs point of view. But we're talking Penguins and Maple Leafs on Penguins postgame for the first time in a long time. And it's the last time for 2024-2025 for the season. For the third straight game in a row, the Pittsburgh Penguins go down by 2 goals. We're going to get to that all in just a matter of moments. But first, as we share the screen one more time, just for our first portion of our show, the officials in this afternoon's game, as we are now into the evening time slot, the referees were Pierre Lambert and John McIsaac. Ryan Gippens and Brad Kovacic are our lines person. They are the lines men for the officials. The officials as referees were John McIsaac and Pierre Lambert. Pierre Lambert, John McIsaac, Ryan Gippens, and Brad Kovacic, your officials for this game. Time now to take a quick time out. When we come back, how did this game get to 6-5 between the Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins? How did the goals go in? All that and more. Plus, Bucks and Pucks is here. We won't have that on our Boston show, but we will have that here on Penguins and Maple Leafs. And I'll try to have that for our night owl action as we look at the Avalanche taking on the Penguins on Tuesday. And then, of course, we've got Vegas taking on the Penguins on Friday. All things considered, we got ourselves some good stuff to get to. Be sure to catch the post-game show for the Golden Knights and the Penguins coming your way, I should say, Saturday, as that is a Night Owl Club game, and we probably won't be able to do it late at night for you here on the East Coast. And a look around the NHL is also going to take us to our first commercial break as well, as we will do that during Bucks and Pucks as well. I'm not really going to share the screen here, but as we already know, our final score is 6-5 Maple Leafs. Down in Minneapolis, that one's in the third period. And even though I would love to share my screen here, we'll do that when we actually do an NHL look around here. But we're going to go ahead and do it. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it just for the sake of doing it, because we haven't taken our break yet. This will take us directly to a break. This will take us to a break. Here we go. Okay, I seem to be having some trouble with my shared screen, so hold on, ladies and gentlemen. While we figure this out, we'll actually try and go ahead, and you know what? Maybe we'll just take a break and we'll come back and do it before we get into things. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. We'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll get into things when we come back on Penguins postgame. So we'll get into things and get into the NHL look around, our first look around for Sunday's action, which is going on right now. and still going on as we go through it. We'll get it all for you coming up on Penguins postgame in a matter of moments. Penalties, goal scorers, all coming up when Penguins postgame continues in a moment.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners. Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches. Penguins 5, Maple Leafs 6. Welcome back to Penguins postgame. Penguins and the Maple Leafs, streaming exclusively on the Ice and Behind the Benches, and of course, right here on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, part of Penguins Wednesday Hockey on the Ice and Behind the Benches. And of course, it is streaming here on Penguins postgame all season long. Time to get into the scoring. Before we do, we mentioned at the end of the opening segment, when we talked about coaches and goaltenders, we mentioned at the end of that segment, we mentioned that we were going to get to the NHL look around. Did not end up doing it because of some technical issues here. So let's go ahead and share our screen and get you into the NHL look around. Let's see, what do we got? Well, a couple of games still to come here. Rangers and the Predators going to battle in just a few minutes from now at 7 p.m. Eastern. At 8 p.m. Eastern, the Golden Knights take on the Devils. That ought to be a good one. An earlier final besides our game at 6-5 in overtime. Frederic Gaudreau is the only goal that matters in the second period as the Wild knock off the Bruins 1-0, despite being outshot 28-22. Ongoing right now, we have the Blues and the Stars tied at 1. Goals by Zach Bolduc and Mason Marchment. Jacob Slavin with the only goal. For Slavin's with the only goal for the the Carolina Hurricanes, who are taking on the Calgary Flames. The Flames are down 1-0 in that one. Matt Duchene has just made it 2-1. Blue Stars over the Blues. 6 games on the slate in this one. 13 games on the slate in a game that we're going to get to when we can get to it. And that is, of course, our Boston Bruin recap. Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We are revamping that one, but you will hear the revamped version of that one before you hear this one. Without further ado, I'd say it's about time we get down to business, don't you? Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. We mentioned before the matchup was Stolarz in backup, Woll in goal for the Maple Leafs, Nedeljkovic backup for the Penguins, Joel Blomqvist in goal. Referees were Pierre Lambert and John McIsaac, for those who are just joining us. And Ryan Gibson and Brad Kovacic have the linesperson or linesmen for the officials in this one. 3 stars coming up in just a matter of moments, but we got to get into the game. So let's go do it now. In the first period of play, the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is all too familiar for the Pittsburgh Penguins. All too familiar. It's all too familiar for the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is all too familiar. For the third straight game in a row, the Penguins go down by 2 goals. First one went to Max Domi, his 4th goal of the season. Bobby McMann with his 10th goal of the season. 10th assist of the season. Nick Robertson with his 6th assists of the season. 2 minutes and 15 seconds in, the Maple Leafs go up 1-0. Later in the period, Connor Timmins, he puts puck on net and puts the puck in the net for his 2nd goal of the season. Pontus Holmberg picking up his 8th assist of the season. William Nylander picking up his 26th assist of the season. More on William Nylander as we go on. We're kicking things off with the scoring. Gonna get into the penalties before we get into the next period of scoring, which is the 2nd period, in a second or two. But moving things right along, 4 minutes and 39 seconds in, the Maple Leafs on top 2-0. For the 3rd straight game, the Penguins are trailing 2-0. But just before it can become 3-0, Cody Glass says, okay, that's enough. And he strikes his 4th goal of the season, makes it 2-1 Maple Leafs over the Penguins. 10 minutes and 27 seconds in, it's 2-1 Penguins, a goal within a goal. But they were within a goal against Boston, and it didn't work out very well for them. In this one, it will work out because they're able to not only tie the game, but take the lead in the process. At the 11-minute and 29-second mark of the period, Rickard Rakell, he scored against Boston on the power play at the late stages of the third period. Scores again. This time it's his only goal of the game. Actually, I should say it's one of his 2 goals in this game. Number 27 on the season for him. Early first period ties the game. Rickard Rakell, 27th goal of the season for Rickard Rakell. Matt Grzelcyk on the assist, number 29 on the season. Sidney Crosby picking up his 45th assist of the season. And Crosby is among 3 Penguin players who had 2 assists. His first came on an assist from Rickard Rakell's 27th goal of the season. And first goal of the day. It's 2-2, 11 minutes and 29 seconds in. Here comes the first penalty of the game. At 13 minutes and 8 seconds, Max Domi receives a 2-minute minor for slashing against Evgeny Malkin. And that is a 2-minute minor for Max Domi. Penguins go to the power play. On the power play, Brian Rust, he will give it over to Karlsson. He goes to Crosby, shoots, scores! A PPG for PGH. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have taken the lead on the power play. It's the Penguins striking first on the power play. Sidney Crosby picking up his 19th goal of the season. Erik Karlsson picking up his 36th assist of the season. First assist of the day. Again, Crosby and Karlsson. Among 3 Penguin players, 2 among 3 Penguin players who scored 2 assists, I should say, in this game. That's number 29 on the season. Number 36 on the season for Erik Karlsson. Brian Rust, who scored in this game, picks up an assist as well, his 24th of the season. Just like that, heading into the first 20 minutes of a break, we get into 13 minutes and 51 seconds in. Crosby scores for the Penguins to make it 3-2. Pittsburgh after 1 period of play. During that timeline after the power play goal, the Penguins go back on the power play as Max Domi again is caught. This time, it's a tripping minor against Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves will draw a tripping minor at the 15-minute and 45-second mark of the period. Penguins unable to connect on that one. But a little more on that in our stats later in the show. Second period we go. Penguins on top by a goal. This is new. Yeah, it's not going to last long. Don't get your hopes up. It won't last long. Austin Matthews, his 22nd goal of the season. And that leads to a tie game yet again. Matthew Knies picks up his 17th assist of the season. Number 57 for Mitch Marner, picking up number 50, good old number 57 on the season. He's had quite a day, or he's having quite a, Mitch Marner's having quite a season. Four minutes and 8 seconds in, the Maple Leafs have tied the game up at 3. Brian Rust says, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and tie this one up again. Get this one untied. And because he scored, Penguin fans, you know the drill. Tomorrow, because Rust scored, head on over to the Milkshake Factory tomorrow for half off Rusty Shakes the next day at the Milkshake Factory, providing you the official milkshake of your Pittsburgh Penguins. We are not sponsored by the Milkshake Factory, but Brian Rust scored against the Maple Leafs, which means Rusty Shakes are half off at the Milkshake Factory on Monday. His 21st goal of the season. Sidney Crosby picking up assist number 46 on the season. Second assist of the day for Crosby. Second assist of the day, speaking of, for Erik Karlsson, number 37. He picked up 36 on a Crosby goal. Crosby picked up 46 on the Brian Rust goal. And Crosby also picked up an assist on Rickard Rakell's first goal of the game. That was number 45 for Sidney Crosby. "15 minutes and 38 seconds, the Penguins have regained the lead. It's 4-3 Penguins. But don't think that's going to stop the Maple Leafs, and they weren't quite done. Late in the period, John Tavares puts the puck in the net. It's 4-4. His 23rd goal of the season. Jake McCabe on the assist, number 15 on the season for Jake McCabe. 19 minutes and 4 seconds, time of the goal. And then Penguins win the draw in the deep in the Toronto zone. The timer has gone. We're going into the third, tied at 4-4. Guess what? We're going in. We are going in. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are not going in to the third period tied 4-4. Nope, we're going in with the 1-goal lead thanks to Matthew Knies, his 23rd goal of the season, unassisted. Look out, here come the Maple Leafs, and here comes Matthew Knies. It's a foot race. Knies is going to beat Joel Blomqvist. It's 5-4 Toronto. 19 minutes and 59 seconds in to the second period. That will be all she wrote in the second period. But in the second period, only one penalty was called in this game. In the second period, that was Christopher Letang, who went at the 8-minute and 1 second mark for tripping on Pontus Holmberg, who was able to draw the penalty. So Domi times 2, Tanger, the only Penguin penalty, that one in the second period. Maple Leafs with the only penalties in the first period. Penguins staying out of the box in the third period, as well as in overtime. And they also stayed out of the box in the first period. So a great job by the Penguins there. Third period rolls around. Guess what? Not even a minute in, 10 seconds in, Penguins win the draw. Chris Letang wins the draw. Sorry, Ryan Shea had the puck. He got it over to Christopher Letang, and that is actually Ryan Shea's 4th assist of the season. 2nd assist of the day for Ryan Shea. He was among the 3 Penguins. Carlson and Crosby and Shea each had 2 assists in this game. Shea picks up his 2nd assist of the day and 4th of the season, with Christopher Letang picking up his 16th assist of the season on the 2nd goal of the game and 28th goal of the season for Rickard Rakell. 10 seconds in for Penguins to go up and tie this one up at 5-5. The Penguins keep it tied through 60 minutes. Well, 60 minutes did it against Boston. It's not going to do it against Toronto. On to overtime we go. In overtime, William Nylander says, guess what? I got another game to play tomorrow on Monday night. So I want to get out of here quickly, and I want to get out of here with a win. 1 minute in, William Nylander shuts the door on this game for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but the Penguins get a point. The Maple Leafs got a point, but they got the extra 2. And William Nylander with his with goal number 35 on the season, puts the game away for Toronto. Morgan Rielly on the assist, his 25th assist of the season. Austin Matthews picked up a goal, and now he's got an assist. That's number 29 in the assist category for Austin Matthews. Rielly to Nylander to close the gap and close the game. 6-5 the final in Pittsburgh. All right. Stats of the game coming up in a little bit. Our 3 stars of the game are coming up in a little bit. We talked about around the NHL, so we will check into that during Bucks and Pucks to keep an eye on Rangers, Predators, Devils, Golden Knights, and of course the ongoing action right now. Jacob Slavin, the only goal in the Hurricanes Flames game. And that one might be over unless the Flames can avoid the you-know-what. I'm not going to say it until that horn goes off in Carolina. And we have a 3-2 score between the Stars and the Blues. That one is headed for the second period as we speak. We'll keep an eye on Rangers, Predators, Devils, and Golden Knights, and the games I just mentioned as we roll on with more Penguin postgame. Bucks and Pucks is coming your way. But before we get there, 3 stars of the game, play of the game, and the game stats. The stats, 3 stars of the game, and the play of the game are on the way next when we continue with Penguins postgame. Stick with us.
Cianity Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on Cianity Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on Cianity Radio.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
Hello? How are you, my friend? Why? What's the matter? Why feeling bored and lonely? Look at me. I am always happy. The only reason I can tell you it's because I listen to Cianity Radio. All the best shows you can think of. The Melting Pot. The Cosmopolitan Culture Club. And the Song Bank. There are also many more new shows to come. Please make sure to visit her website at http://cianity.wordpress.com/cianity-radio. Oh, now I can hear you more cheerful.
Cianity Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Penguins 5, Maple Leafs 6. 6-5 the final. In overtime, the Maple Leafs defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-5 in overtime. Time now for your 3 stars of the game. Before we get there, time now to get into our stats for this hockey game. Penguins outshot the Maple Leafs 34-33. Not really, because if you look at the shots on goal, the Penguins were outshot in the third period 8-6. They did not score a shot in overtime, so they lost that one 1-0. Both teams tied things up at 11 shots on goal in the second period. Penguins still outshooting the Maple Leafs, though, by this time, as they had 17 shots on goal and added 11. When you add that, they were leading 28 to the Maple Leafs shots on goal, which were 13 in the first period. They were being outshot 17-13. This time, add the 11 from the second period, it was 28-24. And then you add the 8 shots on goal, and you got yourself a 34-32 shot total. One more shot for the Maple Leafs, and they win the game off the stick of William Nylander, but they lost the shots on goal. 2 more shots and they probably would have had it. 34-33 your final in shots on goal. In the face-off dot, 56% of the face-offs were won by Toronto at 33 face-offs out of 59. Penguins winning 26 out of 59 face-offs, winning 41.1% of their face-offs. 44.1% of their face-offs. They were 50% good on the power play, scoring once out of 2 opportunities. Penguins' penalty kill was perfect, 1-for-1 on the penalty kill. 0-for-1 the Maple Leafs on the penalty kill. That's a positive for the Penguins. But the positive also for the Maple Leafs, their power play, sorry, not power play, their penalty kill, 1-for-2, killing off 1 penalty out of 2 penalties they had to kill off. They spend 4 minutes in the penalty box. 2 minutes in the box for the Penguins. The Maple Leafs out-hit the Penguins 23-13. They blocked 19 of the Penguins' shots. Penguins blocked 13 of the Maple Leafs' shots on goal. The Penguins had just a terrible time in giveaways. That's just terrible. 21 giveaways for the Penguins. However, they rate this ship in takeaways 7-1. 1 takeaway for the Maple Leafs. 17 giveaways, though, for the Maple Leafs. So both the Penguins and the Maple Leafs with a takeaway and a couple of giveaways. The Penguins with 7 takeaways. Maple Leafs with only 1. But anywho, it's time now for the 3 stars of the game. 3 stars of the game will lead to our play of the game in this segment, which is on the Penguins Radio Network, brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. We are not sponsored by it, but again, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Before we get there, time now for your 3 stars of the game, brought to you by on the Penguins Radio Network. They are brought to you by Ford, the official car, truck, and SUV of the Pittsburgh Penguins. They are brought to you by on the Penguins Radio Network, the official car, truck, and SUV of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Your neighborhood Ford stores. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Let's go ahead and share our screen and find out who our 3 stars of the game are for this game. The Maple Leafs do win the season series, by the way. 2-1 after getting even with the Penguins on December 7th in 2024. At the end of 2024. That was on Saturday night, December 7th, 2024. And they get even on that night with a big win for the Maple Leafs. They beat the Penguins that night 5-2. the Penguins won that game 5-2. To actually get even, I should have said the Penguins got even 5-2. Toronto beat the Penguins on October 12th, 2024, 4-2. This series could have gone either way. If the Penguins win, they win both times at home. If the Maple Leafs win, they win at home and on the road, which is what happened. Your 3 stars of the game, again, brought to you by on the Penguins Radio Network, the official car, truck, and SUV of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We are not sponsored by it, so here we go. With your 3 stars of the contest. Your 3rd star went to Toronto Maple Leafs left winger Matthew Knies. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Your 2nd star went to Penguins right winger Rickard Rakell, 2 goals, no assists, 2 points. And your 1st star, Maple Leaf forward, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, William Nylander. Nylander, Rakell, and Knies. I honestly couldn't have pictured that any better, but if this went the Penguins' way, I could have pictured perhaps a Pittsburgh sandwich where we would have probably Matthew Knies as my 2nd star. Rickard Rakell would be my 3rd star, and my 1st star would be probably Brian Rust. Because I really like what I saw from Brian Rust. I really liked what I saw from him. And with that said, that'll bring us, as I stop sharing the screen for a moment, that'll bring us, with our 3 stars of the game, to the play of the game, brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. And that's again on the Penguins Radio Network, which is also a proud sponsor of Penguins Live Postgame and the Penguins Radio Network. Catch any out-of-market game that you can't see in Canada on TV if you don't have Sportsnet Pittsburgh on WXDX FM Pittsburgh, an iHeart radio station. Even if you don't want to listen to the international broadcast, just put Phil Borg and Joe Brand on the call for you, and you should be all right. We were disconnected there earlier, but with that all being said, let's continue on here. Play of the game. Let's get to it. Well, let me tell you this. My play of the game, it was decided when the Maple Leafs went up. It was decided when the Maple Leafs went up 5-4 late in the period. Late in the 2nd period. Matthew Knies' goal was good enough for my play of the game. But again, William Nylander with the game-winning goal in overtime. We're going to share the audio, and hopefully it works. We ran into an issue last time we did it, so hopefully it worked for our Battle of Pennsylvania. Hopefully it'll work for this one. But here are the men on the call of what was a nationally televised game in Pittsburgh and elsewhere in the United States, as well as available to all viewers in Canada, locally on TSN's Leafs on TSN. Enjoy. Here are the men with the call. Enjoy.
Andre. Nice. He got it. The green light is is on. Went in before horn. Make it carries. It's not enough. But take outside the top of the circle. And the green lights certainly were not on.
Okay, watch this.
Okay, 2, 1. Oh, it's on, and it might not even hit the back of the net. It's in that point. It's on. Oh my. Match. That happening with 3 seconds left. Your goalie.
Wow. I mean, what a way to showcase our play of the game. What a way to showcase our play of the game. Wow. I mean, nice. Wow. I'll tell you this right now, Penguin fans. I had Phil Borg in the back of my mind, and I was going to channel in my own little Phil Borg as this was going down. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, look out. As you can see in the play there, and hopefully the audio worked there, all credit to TSN, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the NHL, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. But as you can tell right there, it looked like Penguins are going to win the draw. They do. And then the next thing you know, Matthew Knies steals the pass, and then he's all alone. It's a foot race, as you would say in the NFL. It'd be a foot race, and Knies wins the race, blanks Joel Blomqvist, the Penguins' starting goaltender, and just like that, it's 5-4 Maple Leafs. All right, that'll do it for the play of the game, the 3 stars of the game, and the shake of the game is on the way, but the stats are also out of the way. The game between the Hurricanes and the Flames has gone final. Hurricanes winning that one 2-1 in overtime. Nazem Kadri was the man to force overtime in the third with a PPG for CGY. His 21st goal of the season ties the game up at 1. But then Sebastian Aho says, "Good night, everybody," from Raleigh, North Carolina. In the second period, the Stars currently lead the Blues 4-3, headed to the third period. They are headed to the third period. Bucks and pucks coming your way, I should say, next. Plus, more from around the NHL this Sunday. And of course, the shake of the game. That all is coming up next. And then after the final break of the program, it's time for the game puck of the game. And what's next for the Leafs? What's next for the Penguins? Penguins postgame continues right after this. The shake of the game, bucks and pucks, and more from around the NHL from Sunday when we return.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Welcome back to Penguins postgame. Penguins and the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs knock off the Penguins 6-5 in overtime. We'll get to the shake of the game in a little bit, and we'll get to the game puck of the game following another commercial break, our last commercial break of the show. As we also try to prepare you for Penguins and the Bruins, we're going to turn back the clock to the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Turning back the clock, Penguin postgame. To the show you will actually be hearing before this one. You know what? Maybe you'll hear it before this one. Who knows? Regardless, that is when we'll turn back the clock to the Bruins. 3-2 win over the Penguins. It's time for a little Bucks and Pucks before we get to the shake of the game. Game puck of the game, and next up for the Penguins as well as the Maple Leafs coming up in a matter of moments, but we're going to add to some Toronto sports action as well. Let's start with our Toronto sports action on the diamond. This will lead into our Bucks and Pucks segment. On the diamond, the Blue Jays knock off the Philadelphia Phillies, not Flyers, Phillies, 5-4. The Phillies were in a split squad game, so they lose that one to the Blue Jays, but knock off the Orioles by the same score, 5-4. The Astros are knocked off by the Nationals 4-3. Braves knock off the New York Yankees 11-1. The Red Sox beat the Mets 6-4. 5-5 tie between the Twins and the Rays. Cardinals and the Marlins. Marlins on top of the Cardinals 5-3. 9-5 the final, the Giants over the Angels. Dodgers also in a split squad game. They win both. 6-3 over the White Sox and 8-4 over the Athletics. A 12-12 tie between the Brewers and the Guardians. Reds knock off the Cubs 7-3. 6-3 the Rangers knock off the Diamondbacks. 6-1 the Mariners fall to the Rockies. And 10-4 the Padres beat the Royals, beat the Padres. 2 10-4 finals, including the Pirates dropping 10-4 to the Tigers. The Penguins, well, they dropped the same thing, but they dropped in overtime 6-5. In other Toronto sports action on the court, Toronto sports, man, I'm telling you right now. The Maple Leafs, victorious in overtime. It was a wild one in Pittsburgh, but they win the game nonetheless. The Blue Jays knocked off the Phillies 5-4. Yeah, let's go! If the Raptors can pull off a dub against the Magic, who they play tonight, in this fourth quarter that they are currently playing in right now, It's going to be a 3-for-all, 3 wins in the same night. The Raptors beat the Magic. The Penguins fall to the Leafs. Blue Jays beat the Phillies. Oh, but the Blue Jays game doesn't matter yet. It's spring training. Don't get your hopes up yet. Well, you know what I say to that? If you're a die-hard Blue Jay fan, or if you're a die-hard hockey fan, or whatever, Philly fan, a Pirates fan, whatever you want to call it, every game matters. Spring training, regular season, postseason, it doesn't matter. Get back to the NHL action. Minus the games that have gone final, which are the Flames dropping 2-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Wild knocking off the Boston Bruins 1-0. We'll get to the Rangers and the Predator game as well as the Blues and Stars. That's currently going on. But it is now time, now that we've got some Bucks and Pucks out of the way, it is now officially time for us to do the shake of the game. Remember, Penguin fans, I know I keep saying Jake Gensel, but that's what the segment was inspired by. If you see Brian Rust score like he did today, of course he didn't score on Saturday's game, but that's okay. I would have, if I'm in Pittsburgh, and I haven't really been in Pittsburgh before, but if I'm in Pittsburgh during hockey season, especially when it's getting warmer out and it's getting nice and hot, I'd go to the milkshake factory whenever Brian Rust scores, because I get half off, or because I would get half off the original price of what Brian Rust's Rusty Shake would be. And I don't really know what that is, because I've never been to Pittsburgh. I've never actually been inside the milkshake factory before. But I would have loved, when Jake Gensel was there, I would have loved, when he was a Penguin, I would have loved to be down there and have myself a Jake Shake, just to see what all the commotion is about him. If you've tried Jake Shake before, or if you've tried a Rusty Shake and a Jake Shake, let me know which one you think is better, a Jake Shake or a Rusty Shake. Which is better? I don't know. I've never tried it. Let me know what you think, Penguin fans. If you've had a chance to try a Rusty Shake or a Jake Shake, which one do you prefer? Which one's better? In any case, this is the player of the game segment that we call the Shake of the Game. Because we don't want to run this too long in our show, we were going to, it would be a special one, but you know what? We're just going to go with one player from each side. And we'll do the same thing with our Boston recap as well. But the Penguins, we're going to start with the Penguins. And again, one player from each team is also going to receive a game puck of the game. That's coming up after this segment closes down. And that will lead us to next up for the Maple Leafs and next up for the Pittsburgh Penguins. A programming note for you. The matchup against the Colorado Avalanche on Tuesday night will be a Wednesday night recording. I will record the show on Wednesday evening. So you won't get this show probably till late Wednesday night, but I will be recording on Wednesday evening, a 9 p.m. program from the Penguins and the Avalanche, as I do want to actually tune into that game and try to be out there checking that one out as best I can. Another thing to note, the Golden Knights recap will come your way on Saturday, as that is also a late night puck drop. That will come your way as early as Saturday evening, while you're probably enjoying some hockey night in Canada, if you're in Canada. And again, that's a late night face-off between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Vegas Golden Knights. More on that in just a little bit. Our game puck of the game next up for the Penguins, next up for the Maple Leafs, coming up in a matter of moments. But here we go with our shake of the game recipients. And if you want in on the action, head on over to the Penguins post-game show interactions on our Discord server to join in, give your 3 stars of the game, give your play of the game, your potential shake of the game recipient player, or your game puck of the game. You can also do so by sending us an email at sportsforbeginners.podcast8231@gmail.com. Once again, sportsforbeginners.podcast8231@gmail.com. All right, with that all being said and done, here we go. Let's start with the Pittsburgh Penguins for the shake of the game. Our first recipient is going to go to the rookie goaltender, Joel Blomqvist. I thought Joel played pretty well. Yes, he gave up 6 goals. Yes, his save percentage is probably not where we would like it to be, but I would prefer any higher than at least between 4% or a save percentage around that type of number. Like any higher than perhaps 557 or so in save percentages would be good enough for me. Not a great game by Joel Blomqvist, but I did like the way he was playing in a close game. And that leads me to my second shake of the game for Pittsburgh. That is going to go to 2-time goal scorer Rickard Rakell. Honorable mentions, 3 honorable mentions. One of them will get a game puck of the game. We're going to go to Brian Rust, who had one of the goals. And we're also going to go to Ryan Shea, 2 of the assists in this game. And how about we give the captain some love? Sidney Crosby, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. Not a bad game for Sid in this one. All right, off to Toronto we go. Our 3 recipients, though, for Penguins for the game puck of the game coming up later. Sidney Crosby, Brian Rust, and Ryan Shea. Recipients of the shake of the game, Joel Blomqvist and Brian Rust. for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Our first shake of the game is going to go to the goaltender, Joseph Woll. What a game by Joseph. What a game by Joseph. A power play goal against, 4 even strength goals against, 5 goals given up against regardless. But the dude still stood on his head, I believe, and managed to stop 29 of the Penguins' 34 shots on goal. 4 of them were even strength goals, 1 of them on the power play. .853 save percentage, not too bad. Just like Joel Blomqvist, he played 61 minutes. Second person up for grabs for the shake of the game. That is going to go to the captain, Austin Matthews. A goal, an assist, 2 points. And our honorable mentions, these are people going to be in the running for the Maple Leafs for the game puck of the game. Gonna go with Connor Timmins, John Tavares, and game winner, winner, chicken dinner, Maple Leaf Nation, between John Tavares, Connor Timmins, and William Nylander. One of those 3 men will be getting the game puck of the game. And that is coming your way next on Penguins postgame. Also coming your way next, when we return, it is time, and I say it is time for next up for Pittsburgh, next up for Toronto, be sure you stick with us for that. Huge action in our season finale against the Maple Leafs. And it concludes on Penguins postgame right after this. Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches. Penguins fall 6-5 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs win the season series 2-1. Matthews scores 700 points for Toronto. Crosby has 3 points for Pittsburgh in this one. And it's William Nylander with the OT winner to close the book on this season series for the Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins. To our surprise, not really, Penguin Nation. the Penguins find a way to lose another game. Well, win or lose, you got to do something. Time now for your game puck of the game. But before we get there, as I mentioned in this show, we're limiting this to just 3 games. And I'm going to use it all via the NHL app. Download the app for yourself to follow your favorite NHL team all season long. Normally we do the next 5, but we're just going to go ahead and do 3 and see where things take us. So let's start with the Pittsburgh Penguins. 3 of the Penguins' next contests are on the road. Those include Tuesday night against the Colorado Avalanche at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and then at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on Friday, March 7th, they will take on the Golden Knights. They will battle the Golden Knights on Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. After they go to Minneapolis for the final game of a 2-game season series with the Minnesota Wild. It's an afternoon matinee showdown with the Minnesota Wild at 3:30 p.m. From there, the Penguins move from Colorado to Vegas to Minnesota, back to Vegas, to St. Louis coming into town as part of a 5-game homestand for the Penguins, their last one of the regular season. This will also feature the Devils, Islanders, and the Blue Jackets coming into town. But of the next 5, 2 of those 5-game homestand matchups for the Penguins are the Blues and the Golden Knights. All right. Since we did that, let's go ahead now and get to our Penguins game puck of the game between Captain Sidney Crosby, Ryan Shea, and the Rusty Razor. Oh, no, I wasn't saying the Rusty Razor. Anyways, Crosby, Ryan Shea, oh, no, I did, because I said that Ricard Raquel was our Shake of the Game recipient, as well as our Shake of the Game recipient went to Joel Blomqvist. Anyways, Rust, Crosby, and Shea. Well, we're going to go ahead and give it to Brian Rust. Rust is going to get the game puck of the game for this one. And that leaves us with Matthews, Connor Timmins, and winner, chicken dinner, overtime hero, William Nylander. And guess what? The game puck of the game is going to go to William. It's going to go to William Nylander. Have a difference in opinion? Let me know in the Penguins post-game show Discord server, or by sending an email to Penguins post-game show interactions. Follow me on all the social media platforms, but please, 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 please know that we want to be sure we know who we are dealing with. Please make note. We would like to be notified and know who we are dealing with when it comes to such things as following us on social platforms, including Facebook. Instagram, on my personal Instagram, on X that I call Twitter because I just don't really want to call it X. I just want to stay with Twitter. At my handles, which we haven't really put in our descriptions. Maybe I should do that, but I'm not really comfortable with doing that. I will do it for the Instagram probably, and definitely the Facebook page for Sports for Beginners. But with that all said and done, game puck of the game out of the way for the Maple Leafs after we did it and after we did the next 5 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Let's go to the next 5 for the Maple Leafs. I wanted to say next 3, but we ended up doing 5, so whatever. Moving on. Maple Leafs back at it tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's on Monday. It's on Prime. 6 games on the slate on Monday. Maple Leafs going toe-to-toe with the San Jose Sharks at 7:30 p.m. Eastern as one of those games. The Maple Leafs will then head to Vegas for some overnight hockey in Las Vegas against the Golden Knights. From there, they head to Denver, Colorado for a showdown at 7 p.m. Eastern on March 8, 2025, excuse me, not 2024, 2025. That will conclude a 3-game road trip, concluding in late time action on Monday, next Monday, March 10th, 2025, as the Maple Leafs visit the hockey club. And we'll wrap it all up with a 4-game homestand starting with the Florida Panthers to close out our next 5 games for the Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs have played in 60 games. The Pittsburgh Penguins have played in 63 games. And guess what, Penguin fans? As I said before, on the Philadelphia Flyer recap, the last recap we did of 2024-2025 for the season with the Penguins and the Flyers, the window of opportunity for the Penguins to get into the playoffs is closing. We're down to 19 games to go, so the Penguins are going to need some huge victories. And if I'm the Penguins, that starts Tuesday night against Colorado. Like, we got to start right now. We know the trade deadline is on its way. That much we know. We also know that the Penguins play that night on the 7th, March 7th. That's a Friday night. But we also know that the Maple Leafs don't play that night. They play the night after. All things considered, when you look at the Maple Leafs have played in 60 games. So they have 20 games to go, 21 games to go, I should say. Just to be sure. Just checking in here. No, sorry, 22 games to go. They have 22. Either way, they still have a little bit more games left to go than Pittsburgh does. But the opportunity for Pittsburgh is closing. The Penguins are going to have to be in win now mode right now. And that starts Tuesday night against the Avalanche. Come on. We got to get the act together and stay focused. As we wrap up here, the Blues were knocked off by the Stars in the action today, 6-3. Stars over the Blues. Also finaled in this one, the Wild knocked off the Bruins 1-0. And the Hurricanes knocked off the Flames 1-0 as well. Rangers leading 3-0 over the Nashville Predators, and we're still looking for the icebreaker. Speaking of which, we're still looking for the icebreaker in the Golden Knights and Devils game. That one is in the second period as we speak. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode and for this season of our coverage of Penguins and Maple Leaf hockey on Penguins Postgame. My name is Scott McGregor. Tomorrow on Monday, we turn back the clock to a program that you will most likely hear before we get to this one, or hear after we've gotten to this one, as we turn back the clock to Saturday on a busy day in the NHL. The Penguins fall 6-5 to the Maple Leafs. They lose the season series 2-1. Whether or not Thomas and I are together on Maple Leaf Post Recap, we'll break it all down for you from the Maple Leaf side of things, which is a more happier sign. But I told you before, Penguin fans, since I am a Canadian Penguin hockey fan, I will be smiling like a butcher's dog, no matter what the outcomes of the Penguins games are, because I know that as long as sports elsewhere are going well for my other teams, like the Blue Jays, even though it's spring training and doesn't really matter, or the Raptors, which they might not be doing too well in the NBA, but they picked up a dub today, 104-102 over the Magic. I'll still be smiling like a butcher's dog. Thank you guys so much, especially to Maple Leaf fans who have joined in or have contributed, like our host of On the Ice and Behind the Benches, Thomas McGregor, for joining us all season long. Look forward to more action with the Maple Leafs and the Penguins next season. It doesn't look like the Penguins are going to make the playoffs. I'm just going to be real honest with you. It doesn't look like we're going to make the playoffs this year, Penguin fans. But I wouldn't hit the panic button until probably I'll say we'll hit the panic button and no, you know what? I mean, I was saying that I won't want to hit the panic button right now, but no, hit the panic button. Hit the panic button right now. Hit it right now. Hit it as hard as you can. Hit it as hard as you can. Penguins fans. Another loss. Yeah, it's in overtime and yeah, we get a point, but we need wins and we need them now. We need wins and we need them now. Whew. At least we didn't give up a snowball to the Maple Leafs or to the Bruins. But again, as I hasten to add as we close out the show here, we need victories and we need them now. Thank you so much for joining us here on Penguins Postgame. That is it for this one. My name is Scott McGregor. We will talk to you after the Penguins and the Avalanche, but stick right with us because tomorrow, when we start recording on a Monday, we turn back the clock to Saturday's contest against the Boston Bruins. The Bruins lost 1-0 today. They beat the Penguins 3-2 yesterday. We turned back the clock on Penguins postgame. next time. But again, like I said, I will see you Wednesday for Avalanche and Penguins as that game goes down Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy the hockey game, everybody. Oh, and one more thing. As always, let's go Pens. See you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it.